However, this spiritual venerable boulder was different from before. Now that he saw Zhou fight rushing towards him, he only hesitated for a second before turning around and fleeing without hesitation. This action stunned the flowing swamp god lord. However, spiritual venerable boulder couldn't say anything. Previously, he had been confident in his strong defense because the other party's Xian Yuan divine sword was only a low-level will holy artifact. It could not break his defense at all. That was why he was so confident in resisting the other party's attack. However, Zhou fight had switched to a high-level will holy artifact, the Yellow River Emperor's sword. That was a high-level will holy artifact. Even if he had activated the conceptual god's ability and could reflect a certain amount of attacks, he would still die under Yellow River's Emperor's sword. He didn't want to do something like exchanging a life for a life. Trying to run, Zhou fight snorted and sped up again, catching up to the spiritual venerable boulder. The spiritual venerable boulder was shocked when he saw this. Seeing that his opponent's Yellow River Emperor's sword was about to land on him, spiritual venerable boulder gritted his teeth and immediately activated his defense and will holy artifact defense to the maximum. At the same time, he activated his conceptual divine power to the extreme. I don't believe it. This guy is really willing to exchange his life for mine. Swoosh. The sword fell. Spiritual venerable boulder felt a chill on his right arm. He opened his eyes and realized that his right arm had been cut off. He immediately looked at Zhou fight, ignoring the pain in his body. However, he saw a scene that he couldn't believe. Zhou fight was unscathed. He looked as if he was not affected by the rebound damage at all. How is that possible? The spiritual venerable boulder was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Could it be that his conceptual divine power had lost its effect? This had never happened before. Zhou fight suddenly laughed out loud after being puzzled. What are you laughing at? The spiritual venerable boulder couldn't help but roar, sensing that the other party was mocking him. Zhou fight laughed coldly without saying a word as he casually cut off the other arm. In fact, he just wanted to give it a try. Unexpectedly, it really succeeded. In fact, spiritual venerable boulder's conceptual god power had already succeeded. However, the attacks from the power of the Yellow River that it had rebounded from the conceptual god's ability were all absorbed by Zhou fight's Yellow River slate. This also caused Zhou fight to recover a portion of the Yellow River's power in the blink of an eye after using this strike. Thus, only spiritual venerable boulder's injured world was born. Zhou fight continued to attack spiritual venerable boulder relentlessly. He attacked extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, the spiritual venerable boulder, who was as strong as a boulder, was cut into a stone stick by him. Help me! The spiritual venerable boulder cried for help in panic. The master of spirit devourers and the master of stasis did not expect things to change so quickly. In the blink of an eye, the strongest among them was actually about to be defeated by Zhou fight. They immediately carried out the rescue in their anxiety. They had no choice but to rescue him. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to escape either if the spiritual venerable boulder died. Go! With a command from the master of spirit devourers, the super energy ball condensed in his hand instantly flew towards Zhou fight. Master of stasis also activated his time stasis ability, wanting to stop Zhou fight from killing spiritual venerable boulder. However, under the suppression of Land of Earth, a minister of the king's domain skill, his time stasis conceptual god ability only stopped Zhou fight's figure for a moment before it could no longer affect Zhou fight. The master of spirit devourer's super energy ball quickly approached Zhou fight. However, after entering the Land of Earth, a minister of the king domain around Zhou fight, it was affected by the suppression effect of the domain. This super energy ball, which was originally at the upper supreme will realm, was actually suppressed to the middle supreme will realm. When Zhou fight saw this energy ball, he suddenly turned around and slashed at it with the Yellow River Emperor's sword. Swoosh! A faint yellow light flashed. This super energy ball was directly cut in half and gradually dissipated in the air. Zhou fight glanced at the master of spirit devourers and the master of stasis. Then, he ignored them and chased after the spiritual venerable boulder. The spiritual venerable boulder died on the spot after piercing the will core in the other party's brain. Zhou Fight nimbly put away their corpses and turned to look at the Master of Spirit Devourers and the Master of Stasis after killing them. When the Master of Spirit Devourers and the Master of Stasis saw this scene, their souls immediately left their bodies. They turned around and teleported into the distance without thinking. Trying to escape? Zhou Fight said calmly, "You can't escape from my domain." He vanished on the spot. In the next second, he had appeared in front of the Master of Stasis. The Master of Stasis screamed in fear when he saw Zhou Fight suddenly appear in front of him. Then, he immediately activated his time stasis ability to control Zhou Fight. However, when he turned around to escape, he realized that Zhou Fight was standing behind him with a calm expression. "What you're freezing is just a temporary incarnation of mine. You're too flustered. You didn't even notice my clone." Just as the Master of Stasis was about to say something, he saw Zhou Fight's sword slashing over. The Master of Stasis's vision instantly fell into darkness. Zhou Fight picked up the Master of Stasis' corpse and threw it into his #1 treasure vault. Then, he teleported again and appeared in front of the Master of Spirit Devourers. The Master of Spirit Devourers did not have much willpower left after condensing the super energy ball just now. In the face of Zhou Fight's attack, he was even inferior to the Master of Stasis. He could not even counterattack before his head was cut off by Zhou Fight, destroying the willpower core in his head. A bunch of dogs and chickens. Zhou Fight shook his head. He did not even use much of the Yellow River's power to kill them. The current his was probably only a high-level Supreme Will Realm expert who could pose some threat to him. Low-level Supreme Will Realm experts and mid-level Supreme Will Realm experts. Other than those geniuses with heaven-defying combat strength, it was already very difficult for the other experts to make him feel danger. He looked at the battlefield. At this moment, the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom under him was fighting the army of the illusionary race. Even though the illusionary race's army had also seen the death of the 3 Supreme Will Realm experts, they did not panic because of this. This was because the quasi-Supreme Will Realm experts among them had taken over the command of the army and were still commanding the army to fight the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army. But even so, under the suppression of Zhou Fight's Land of Earth, a minister of the king's domain, the strength of the Illusionist clan's army was greatly reduced. In addition, the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army was already extraordinary tier. Even though the Illusionist clan's army was powerful, they were still at a huge disadvantage under the strong offensive suppression of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army. Zhou Fight could tell that in less than 2 hours, the illusionary army would definitely be defeated. This time was already very short. However, Zhou Fight still felt that this was a little too long. He couldn't stay here for too long. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if the enemies attracted by the reincarnation will found out about the situation on his end and gave up on the reincarnation will to find trouble with him. Therefore, he only thought about it for a moment before choosing to hold the Yellow River Emperor sword and personally charge into the battlefield to help the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's army destroy the illusionary race army in front of him. With Zhou Fight's help, the illusionary army was wiped out in less than an hour. Zhou Fight immediately ordered the army to return to the cosmic warship and leave this place, waiting for the next order from the reincarnation well. Just as they was preparing to retreat, the flowing swamp god lord came back to his senses and immediately shouted excitedly, "Your Excellency, common people's regal, I'm willing to lead all the subjects of the flowing swamp divine kingdom to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Please allow me to join." He waited uneasily after he finished speaking. A faint voice sounded in his mind. "Your flowing swamp divine kingdom can join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Bring all the subjects in your divine kingdom. As long as you have sins, you have to do a certain amount of good deeds to become a subject of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Especially you. If you can persist in doing good deeds for 100,000 years to make up for the sins you committed when you were alive and after you died, this emperor will allow you to become a citizen of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom." "I'm willing." The flowing swamp god Lord agreed without hesitation. After this battle, the common people's regal had already left an extremely revered impression in his heart, not to mention asking him to do good deeds. Even if he were to be a slave for the rest of his life, he would be willing to follow by the side of the common people's regal. A faint grunt sounded in the air after hearing his answer. At the same time, in the illusion heavenly desert, four figures emitting a terrifying will pressure were chasing after another figure. This figure was none other than the reincarnation well. At that moment, he had a calm expression. Even though he was facing the pursuit of four supreme will realm experts, not only was he not flustered, he even had the time to turn around and counterattack the pursuers behind him. Seeing how they were extremely angry but unable to catch up to him, he couldn't help but smile. He lowered his head and touched the will holy artifact on him. He could not help but sigh. Fortunately, I borrowed these 3 defensive holy artifacts from my brother. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to lure the enemy away so calmly. In the past, almost all the willpower holy artifacts that he possessed were offensive holy artifacts. This allowed he to obtain a huge suppressive advantage when attacking enemies weaker than him. But when he encountered an enemy that was far stronger than him, the shortcoming of not having a defensive will holy artifact became apparent. No matter how good an offensive will holy artifact was, if the enemy could ignore his offensive will holy artifact just by relying on their strength, then there was not much difference whether they had this will holy artifact or not after all. On the other hand, defensive will holy artifacts could increase his chances of self-preservation and retreat. Thinking of this will holy artifact, the reincarnation will thought of Zhou fight. I wonder what's the situation over there with this brother of mine who has created many miracles. I wonder what's the situation over there with this brother of mine who has created many miracles. When he first found out that his younger brother's goal was 3 low-level supreme will realm experts, he was very against it. Even though his younger brother had already killed 2 supreme will realm experts, there was an essential difference between 1v1 and 1v3 after all. Even a martial emperor would not dare to resist the siege of 3 low-level supreme will realm experts and could only think of a way to escape, not to mention killing them. A grade 3 supreme god realm killed 3 low-level supreme will realm experts, or a low-level supreme will realm expert carrying a will holy artifact. This sounded like a fantasy. If not for the fact that the reincarnation will trusted his brother very much, how could he be willing to let he carry out this crazy plan? Delay as much as possible. As long as I stall for enough time, even if my brother can't kill those 3 supreme will realm experts, he will at least have more time to escape. The reincarnation will's eyes were filled with determination. He had to take some risks in order to stall for time with the means he had. However, he was willing to do such a thing for him in order for him to successfully escape. This was because he was not only his brother, but also because he saw hope in him to end the war with the illusionist clan. Just as he was about to take action, several angry roars suddenly sounded from behind him. Then, he was shocked to discover that the 4 supreme will realm experts chasing from behind him had suddenly stopped chasing him. What happened? He looked a little lost. At this moment, his personal terminal suddenly rang. The reincarnation will took a look and realized that it was Zhou Fight's call. He quickly answered the call and heard a calm voice from the other end. Brother. The 3 supreme gods, including the master of spirit devourers, have been dealt with. Be careful on your side. I'm afraid that in their exasperation, they will kill you at all costs. Reincarnation will was stunned after hearing this. He subconsciously looked at the 4 supreme will realm experts who had left and suddenly laughed out loud. He originally thought that it would be good enough if his younger brother could keep him alive. He never expected that his younger brother could actually kill 3 supreme will realm experts in a 1v3. Even if they were only low-level supreme will realm experts, it was enough to shock the myriad worlds. After he smiled, he chased after the 4 supreme will realm experts and sent a message, The four Supreme Will Realm experts of the illusionary race on my side already know that you killed them. They have chased after them angrily now. I'll try my best to stall them. Be careful on your side. The reincarnation will remind it. Don't worry, brother. I know what I'm doing. Zhou Fight smiled. He would naturally be cautious. Those were two high-level Supreme Will Realm experts, a mid-level Supreme Will Realm expert, and a low-level Supreme Will Realm expert. Zhou Fight would at most have the ability to protect himself facing such a lineup. He would not be able to face them head-on or even kill them. Brother, how about we deal with these four Supreme Will Realm experts together tomorrow? Zhou Fight suddenly said. Tomorrow. The reincarnation Will was stunned, not quite understanding why he specifically mentioned tomorrow. Could it be that there was something special tomorrow? He suddenly thought of something and looked excited. Are you going to become a Grade 4 Supreme God tomorrow? A Grade 3 Supreme God realm was already so powerful. A Grade 4 Supreme God would definitely be able to elevate his brother's strength to another level. Zhou Fight denied and explained with a smile. No. However, I should be advancing to the Supreme Will Realm tomorrow. It's not that his overall strength has advanced to the Supreme Will Realm. It's because my willpower level has to advance to the Supreme Will Realm. As for the God Spirit Realm, it's still the Grade 3 Supreme God Realm. Zhou Fight said. He had been looking forward to the Will Divine Transformation Realm for a long time. Normally speaking, it was normal for ordinary God spirits to be stuck at this stage for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, or even longer. He had advanced from the late stage Will Divine Transformation Realm to the Supreme Will Realm after all. It was normal for such a large class to be stuck for a long time and never be promoted. However, Zhou Fight had more than one Supreme Will Realm inheritance in his hands. He even had the Will inheritance and even the incomplete Eternal Immortal Realm inheritance. With the enhancement of so many inheritances, Zhou Fight could feel that he could now easily cross the bottleneck of advancing to the Supreme Will Realm and advance his willpower realm to the Supreme Will Realm. This was the benefit of having a large number of top-notch inheritances. As for the slow progress in the nomological aspect, Zhou Fight had no choice. The path of laws that everyone walked was completely different after all. It was only suitable for oneself. The other inheritances could only be used as a reference and could not be completely copied onto oneself. Zhou Zhou could only explore his own nomological path step by step. However, even so, Zhou Fight could also feel that he could advance to become a Grade 4 Supreme God within 3 days. After reaching the perfected Grade 4 Supreme God realm, he could begin to prepare to comprehend the Will technique and truly advance to the Supreme Will realm. With the Will realm at the Supreme Will realm, the Will holy artifacts in my hands will unleash greater power. It will also be easier to control them. My various law skills will also be able to unleash greater power. At that time, with the high-level Will holy artifact, I will have a high chance of winning even if I face a high-level Supreme Will realm. Zhou Fight thought to himself. At the same time, when Reincarnation Will saw Zhou Fight's message, he was so excited that he could not control himself. Unexpectedly, his younger brother did not advance from Grade 3 Supreme God Realm to Grade 4 Supreme God Realm. Instead, he advanced from the high-level Will Divine Transformation Realm to the low-level Supreme Will Realm. Even though it was only an increase in the Will Realm, the Will Realm of the Supreme Will Realm was enough to increase Zhou Fight's strength greatly. Just the fact that he could unleash the power of a stronger holy artifact was enough to increase Zhou Fight's strength by 2 to 3 times, or even more. Before his younger brother advanced to the Supreme Will Realm, he could rely on his high-level Will Divine Transformation Realm to forcefully use his Will Holy Artifact to defeat the Martial Emperor. Before his younger brother advanced to the Supreme Will Realm, he could rely on his high-level Will Divine Transformation Realm to forcefully use his Will Holy Artifact to defeat the Martial Emperor. Reincarnation Will felt that it was very likely. If my younger brother can really advance to the low-level Supreme Will Realm, if he joins forces with me, he might really be able to destroy the remaining 4 Supreme Will Realm experts before the reinforcements of the Supreme will arrive. The Reincarnation Will thought. Even though he was only a low-level Supreme Will Realm expert, with the authority to control reincarnation, even if he faced an high-level Supreme Will Realm expert, he could face him head-on and even have a high chance of defeating him. It was really not impossible to join forces with Zhou Zhou and deal with the remaining four Supreme Will Realm experts. At the thought of this, the reincarnation will could not help but be tempted. He thought for a while and sent a message. Okay, when you advance to the low-level Supreme Will Realm, you can inform me. Let's join forces and let this group of outsiders who occupied the Yellow River Realm stay here forever. A smile appeared on Zhou Fight's face. Then, he discussed the details with the reincarnation will for a while before breaking off the connection. Then, as he led the army out of the Black State Swamp, he took out the three Supreme Will Realm corpses and chose to extract the loots. Soon, a large number of loots appeared in his first treasure vault. Even though Zhou Fight had said that he was already prepared, he could not help but click his tongue when so many loots appeared in front of him. Good God! As expected of all the loots of the three Supreme Will Realm experts, the total value was almost equivalent to the value of all the treasures in his first treasure vault. He looked at it for a while before taking out the Willpower Holy Artifact. The three Supreme Will Realm experts added up to a total of 12 Will Holy Artifacts. Even though they were all low-level Will Holy Artifacts, Zhou Fight was still very surprised. For example, among the Supreme Will Realm experts in their Supreme Great Cosmos, it would be good enough if 1 in 3 of them had a Will Holy Artifact. The Will Holy Artifacts in the Supreme Great Cosmos were too rare after all. Unless they left the Supreme Great Cosmos to search for opportunities in the Ultimate Void Great Cosmos, most Supreme Will Realm experts would still use Supreme Divine Artifacts as their weapons and equipment. But the Illusionist clan was different. He had only encountered 4 Supreme Will Realm experts. More than 20 Willpower Holy Artifacts had been seized. As expected of the rich, illusionary world. At night, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace of the Blazing Sun Divine Capital. In the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou Fight was looking at the battle report in front of him. Under the joint efforts of the 5 battlefields, the battlefield of the Supreme Continent, the battlefield of the Ultimate Void Great Cosmos, the battlefield of Tianjun's corpse, the battlefield of the Crimson Great Cosmos, and the Yellow River Domain. The statistics were calculated. The Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had obtained a total of 45,000 mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, and basic materials of various levels in the capital units today. 71 capital units, 2,311,293,118,723,297 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. 8,123 units of Chaos Divine Treasure, 138,237,482 Legendary Tier and below Lord Talent Spheres. A large number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments of other levels. There were also 20 Guy Unit 2,391 Capital Units 2, 347, 971, 1 trillion Divine Crystals from low-tier deity level to high-tier deity level. 3,098,119,374 true God-tier Divine Crystals. 1,412,998,841,020 Master God-tier Divine Crystals. 1,232,949,181 Grade 1 to Grade 3 Supreme God Divine Crystals. 181 capital units had 2,938,347,811 million divine artifacts from low-tier to high-tier deity levels. 12,312,983 million true God-tier divine artifacts. 28,119,811 master God-tier divine artifacts. 1,812,983 supreme God divine artifacts. There were about 181 capital units with a total of 2,938,410 million divine spark fragments, God-tier medicinal herbs, God-tier ingredients, God-tier ores, God-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 3,198,387,122,387 master god-tier herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 12,012,783 supreme god-level god-tier herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 8,123 supreme will realm god-tier medicinal herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 23 will holy artifacts. In terms of insight defection, Zhou Zhou's clones had used the two insight defection skills of the Land of Earth, a minister of the king and son of destiny today, to instigate a total of 4 Guy Unit 3,498 capital unit soldiers, 32,329,312,387 low-tier deity-level god spirits, 23,928. 7816 mid-tier deity-level god spirits, 12,329,123,389 high-tier deity-level god spirits, 71,923,378 true god tiers, 712,398 master gods, and 103 supreme wills. In addition, the Lords of the Star Alliance had also insight defection 2,938 capital unit soldiers, 48,123,980,000 god spirits, more than 22 million true god tiers, and 8,121 Lord gods. In the end, in terms of the advancement of god spirits, a total of 12,321,349,812,287 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers had been promoted to low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits. There were also 11,213,283,489 high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirits who had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. Another 123,491 top-notch true gods of the human race, and 803,432 top-notch true gods of the people of foreign races felt their master god-tier bottleneck and applied to enter the reincarnation sacred palace to cultivate in seclusion in an attempt to break through to the master god-tier realm. Moreover, there were 50 master god-tier advanced grade god spirits who had sensed the bottleneck in their advancement and were also preparing to enter the reincarnation sacred palace today to advance to a grade 1 supreme god. Zhou Zhou's original military strength was 65 Guy units, 559 capital units, 271,198,429,878,167 soldiers, 1,096,375,759,999 god spirits, 25,734,183,552 true god tiers, 82,285 million master gods, 372 supreme gods, and 16 quasi-supreme will realms. The military strength under him had reached 69 Guy units, 6,995 capital units, 6 quintillion, 995 quadrillion, 342 trillion, 119 billion, 282 million, 872,387 soldiers, 124 trillion, 396 billion, 712 million, 312,391 god spirits, 44 billion, 88 million, 699,419 true gods, 154,804 master gods, 475 supreme gods, and 34 quasi-supreme will realms. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. Zhou Zhou looked at the number of new god spirits and was very satisfied. In the past, the number of newly advanced god spirits in a day was at most 100 to 200 billion. The number of new god spirits today had actually reached more than 123 trillion. This has increased by more than 1,000 times. This kind of improvement could not be said to be terrifying. But why was it able to increase by so much? The answer was simple. Now, the subjects and soldiers that he summoned every day were at least at legendary tier elementary grade. With the help of the Supreme God Body and the Supreme Unique Lord Talent, Heavenly Summoning, he had a 1% chance of summoning subjects of the legendary tier advanced grade. Both of them were only one step away from the realm of deities. With the protection of the Supreme Unique Lord Talent Ares, they could obtain a massive amount of promotion energy by killing enemies in an extremely short period of time, thereby raising their strength to the God Spirit realm. This was also why so many legendary tier soldiers could advance to the God Spirit realm today. Moreover, this improvement was not a coincidence. It would be normal. He could do it today. He could do it tomorrow. Even after 10 or 100 years, so many new God spirits could appear. Moreover, as time passed, the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was destined to increase the number of new God spirits every day. He wouldn't stay stagnant after all. Hence, Zhou Zhou was very sure. One day, the number of God spirits under his command would exceed the total number of God spirits in the entire supreme, great cosmos. At that time, Zhou Zhou's prestige would be unimaginable. This was something that even God King Heaven Punishment and them, the Supreme Lord Reserve Army, could not do. Apart from the advancement of ordinary God spirits, the advancement of true God tier, Master God tier, and even Supreme Gods also had a huge improvement. Zhou Zhou was very calm about this. As his power, strength, and the number of new God spirits continued to increase, such an increase was destined. No one could stop it. In addition to the above war summary, in terms of purchasing Chaos Divine Treasures in the Chaos Sea, the management of the Chaos Sea today bought 220 units of Chaos Divine Treasures from the Divine Kingdom Lord factions that were collecting Chaos Divine Treasures in the Time Ruins. He originally had 2,890 units of Chaos Divine Treasures. Now, with these 220 units of Chaos Divine Treasures and the 3,588 units of Chaos Divine Treasures obtained from other battlefields, it added up to 6,698 units of Chaos Divine Treasures. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up. I've already gathered all the Chaos Divine Treasures. In addition, the other 8 beginner-grade Master God Tier Lord factions needed to advance to the territory have also been conquered by Zhou Fight today. I can upgrade my territory now. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. After Zhou Fight dealt with the 3 Supreme Will Realm experts of the illusionary race, he immediately left the Black State Swamp to avoid the pursuit of the 4 Supreme Will Realm experts. However, even though he was being hunted down, Zhou Fight did not retreat from the Yellow River region. Instead, he dealt with the beginner Master God Tier Lords of the Illusionist clan while retreating. They easily dealt with the beginner-grade Master God Tier Lords without much effort as he was powerful and his soldiers were not inferior. Originally, he needed 8 beginner-grade Master God Tier Lord factions to upgrade his territory. However, he had quickly taken down all the lords of the 7 beginner-grade Master God Tier kingdoms of the illusionary race today. As for the 8th Divine Kingdom, he didn't take it down. Instead, the Flowing Swamp God Lord had directly presented his beginner-grade Master God Tier Kingdom's Lord faction, the Flowing Swamp Divine Kingdom, to him. In this way, all the conditions for upgrading the territory were met. Without wasting any time, Zhou Zhou flew out of the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and arrived above Blazing Sun Divine Capital. He looked at his Divine Capital. He had a thought. In the next second, as 20,000 Gai units of basic materials, 1,000 Grade 1 Supreme God Divine Crystals, 1,000 Capital Units Origin Crystals, 10,000 Chaos Divine Treasures, and 100 Ultimate Void Crystals disappeared instantly. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, your Master God Tier Advanced Grade God's Kingdom, Lord's Law, has successfully advanced to Grade 1 Supreme God's Kingdom, Lord's Law. Your territory has successfully advanced to Grade 1 Supreme Territory. Your Master God Tier Advanced Grade Mixed Essence 1 Heart Array has been upgraded to Grade 1 Supreme God Astral Divine King Array. Durability of Territory Stone Tablet increased to 1,000 capital units /1000 capital units. Your territory has expanded to 20 trillion kilometers x 20 trillion kilometers x 100 million m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Supreme Building Blueprint Treasure Chest, Grade 1 Supreme God. Lord Talent Notification. Your Scarlet Broodmother can be upgraded. Lord Talent Hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent Notification. The strength of the clergy of your life arc has increased. In the next second, an even more dignified and loud voice sounded. 10,000 Races Announcement 1. Congratulations to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, High-Level Master God Tier Kingdom, Blazing Sun God Lord, for becoming the first to improve your territory to Grade 1 Supreme God's Kingdom. Reward Supreme Treasure Chest +3. Mythical Reputation Rating Talents +10,000. Legendary Ranking +10 million. Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer 14. Myriad Lord Announcement Channel. Congratulations Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, High-Level Master God Tier Kingdom, Blazing Sun God Lord. Myriad Lord Announcement Channel. Congratulations Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, High-Level Master God Tier Kingdom, Blazing Sun God Lord. Lord of All Race Announcement 2. Ever since the Blazing Sun God Lord opened a new Lord's territory again, the territories of all the Lords can be upgraded to Grade 4 Supreme Gods. The Lords can be upgraded by checking the information of the Lords. Lord of All Race Announcement 3. In order to congratulate Blazing Sun God Lord on creating a new chapter for the Lords of all races, you are specially rewarded with 5 Premier Heart, 3 Supreme Hearts. The authority of the Supreme Lord Reserve Army had increased. The moment the announcement was made, all the races were shocked. All the leaders of the various races in the myriad worlds discussed this earth-shattering matter through the contact information of the various races. This is too ridiculous. I'm still thinking about how to build a beginner-grade Master God Tier country's Lord faction. The common people's regal has actually stepped into another level and entered the ranks of the Supreme Country, as expected of the 3rd Reserve Army of the Supreme Lord, personally verified by the Supreme Will. Not only did he raise the order of his Supreme Lord Reserve Army to a new level in a short period of time, but he also raised his territory to a new height. He captured both of them, and both of them were ahead of the lords of the myriad races. I'm impressed. The common people's regal is indeed the strongest prodigy of our era. I even feel that his limelight is not inferior to the God King Heaven Punishment and the Spring Autumn Dharma Lord back then. I'm only curious about how the common people's regal obtained so many advancement resources. It's so difficult for me to even gather the resources to advance to the beginner grade Master God Tier Lord realm. It's hard to imagine how the common people's regal managed to gather all the resources and advance to the Lord realm. It should be obtained in the ultimate void great cosmos, right? Otherwise, I don't believe that Your Highness can obtain so many advancement resources in our great cosmos. Our supreme great cosmos, and even the neighboring crimson great cosmos, don't have so many resources. I have the same guess. Our great cosmos Lord Tao developed later, unlike those top-notch Lord system great cosmoses. It's said that even Lord factions with willpower that transcend the level exist. If we can find those top-notch Lord system great cosmoses, I believe it shouldn't be difficult to gather resources to upgrade our territory. That makes sense. It seems like I have to make a trip to the ultimate void great cosmos soon. Take me with you. I'll go too. Please stop rolling and let the child lie down. All the races were discussing this matter fervently. Even Lord of 10,000 Evils, Spring Autumn Dharma Lord, and God King Heaven Punishment, who were fighting in the dusk battlefield, were stunned. Lord of 10,000 Evils. I knew Big Brother was an existence that could create a new era. Spring Autumn Dharma Lord. Our new brother is getting more and more interesting. God King Heaven Punishment. Good, good, good. As expected of my younger brother. The future is promising. The future is promising, huh? At the same time, Zhou Zhou looked at the announcement in front of him, and the smile on his face became even more obvious. This was the second time he had made history. The founder of the Master God Tier Kingdom and the Supreme Kingdom. This result was comparable to one of the best achievements of the Supreme Lords in their prime, the God King Heaven Punishment. Zhou Fight came back to his senses after being happy for a while. He continued reading. First was the need to upgrade his territory. Construction upgrade. 1 wood Z unit, 1 sand Z unit, 1 metal Z unit, 1 stone Z unit, 1,000 grade 2 supreme God divine crystals, 5,000 capital units origin crystals, 50,000 chaos divine treasures, 500 ultimate void crystals, 500 advanced divine kingdoms, 10 intermediate grade master God tier kingdoms, 10 grade 2 supreme God spirits, 2 billion heroes. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly after reading it. Had he already started the Z unit? 10,000 Guy unit was a Z unit. This was an extremely high number of units. He shook his head and didn't think too much about it. He looked at the upgrade requirements again. Firstly, he definitely had enough basic materials. Supreme God crystals, origin crystals, high-level master God tier kingdoms, and the number of God spirits who had advanced to Supreme God, as well as the 2 billion heroes, could all be met. The remaining 3 requirements were the Chaos Divine Treasure, the Ultimate Void Crystal, and the beginner-grade Master God tier kingdom. Currently, he still had 24,804 units of Chaos Divine Treasures. With this number of Chaos Divine Treasures, it would be about time. The Ultimate Void Crystal was only half of it. However, Zhou Fight was not worried. The various channels of these 2 resources that he currently controlled could already provide he with a good number of Chaos Divine Treasures and Ultimate Void Crystals every day. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before they were gathered. He should be able to gather them all in less than 10 days. If the Yellow Sky Great Cosmos progressed faster, it might be even faster. It was the same for the 10 Master God tier intermediate grade nations. There was definitely no Master God tier intermediate grade kingdom in the Supreme Great Cosmos and the Crimson Great Cosmos. Even the Illusionist clan in the Yellow River region did not have enough resources to quickly build a Master God tier intermediate grade kingdom. However, it didn't matter. The Yellow Heaven Great Cosmos did. Zhou 16, who was stationed in the Yellow Sky Great Cosmos, had already begun to attack the surrounding beginner grade Master God tier countries and Master God tier intermediate grade countries. The number of these 10 Master God tier intermediate grade kingdoms looked very shocking. In the eyes of many lords, it was an impossible task. However, in Zhou 16 and Zhou Zhou's eyes, as long as the reinforcements on his side did not slack off, defeating 10 Master God tier intermediate grade nations was only a matter of time. It was even possible that Zhou 16 had already conquered 10 beginner grade Master God tier kingdoms before the Chaos Divine Treasure and Ultimate Void Crystals were collected. At the thought of this, Zhou Zhou could not help but raise his eyebrows. From the looks of it, the difficulty of leveling up this time was much easier than he had imagined. It was all thanks to the Yellow Sky Great Cosmos. What a treasure trove! Without the Yellow Sky Great Cosmos, he would probably be in despair when he saw this upgrade requirement. Then, he looked at the reward in the announcement. The first was the new title rewarded. Title: Glory of the Pioneer 14. Title quality: Unique title of the race. Title effect: 1 inch. You are famous among the myriad realm lords. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of subjects you can summon through the gate of summoning every day plus 1,400%. Among the subjects you can summon, there will be professional talents of the same level as your territory plus 15. Title effect 2, same as before. Title effect 3. When you become the first lord with a low-level supreme territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer 15 and unlock more title effects. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. However, the number of subjects he could summon had increased by 14 times. In addition, among the subjects summoned, there were 15 professional talents of the same level as the territory, which meant he could summon 15 grade 1 supreme God spirit tomorrow morning. He could summon 15 grade 1 supreme God spirit tomorrow morning. In the myriad worlds in the supreme great cosmos, there were only more than 10,000 supreme gods. Now, he could actually summon 15 of them every day. If this matter were to spread, not to mention the lords of the myriad races, even a supreme realm faction would probably be jealous of him. Moreover, 15 in a day meant 1,500 in 100 days. He only needed 700 days if he wanted to reach the goal of 10,000. In 2 years, I can have a supreme god comparable to the entire supreme great cosmos. Zhou Zhou felt comfortable just thinking about it. The effect of this title was too good. And this was only the effect of the supreme god title. What if he became the master of a supreme territory? Could he summon 16 supreme realm experts every day? Is it really possible? What? Just thinking about it made him feel ridiculous if he could do it. Thus, Zhou Fight decided not to think about it for the time being. He would think about it when he reached that level. Thinking too much would only add to his worries. Zhou Zhou looked at the second reward. 3 supreme treasure chests. He opened the 3 supreme treasure chests one by one. In 2 of the supreme treasure chests were 10 supreme divine artifacts. A total of 20 supreme divine artifacts. To the other supreme gods, this was naturally an extremely rich harvest. However, to Zhou Zhou, who had so many supreme divine artifacts that they had piled up into several mountains, it was naturally nothing. He curled his lips and looked at the 3rd supreme treasure chest. A statue was placed in the 3rd supreme treasure chest. This statue was a figure similar to an alchemist. The figure wore a dark purple robe and was a woman. Her fair and young face had bright and penetrating eyes. Her pair of extremely spirited purple eyes were focused on the dark red potion in her right hand. Zhou Zhou looked over and a text notification appeared. Treasure name, Alchemist, Katarina Vela, and her violent blood potion. Treasure grade, grade 4 supreme god. Treasure effect, offer 1 true god tier elementary grade divine crystals research funding to Alchemist Katarina Vela. You can obtain a gradeless potion, violent blood potion. After taking this potion, any life form can increase their strength by a small level unconditionally, up to the level of a grade 4 supreme god. The number of violent blood potions you can obtain every day is unlimited. Treasure evaluation, Alchemist. Katarina Vela was originally an extremely talented alchemist in the alchemy great cosmos. From the moment she was born, a god spirit had predicted that Katarina Vela would have extremely high alchemy talent and that she would very likely become a true god-level alchemist in the future. Katarina Vela indeed did not disappoint that god spirit. She had displayed extremely high alchemy talent since she was young. No matter what kind of complicated and difficult alchemy knowledge she had, she could always learn it easily. However, after she participated in an alchemy competition and obtained 3rd place, she suddenly changed her direction of study. She specialized in a low-level potion, violent blood potion. She gave up her potential and opportunity to become famous in other alchemy fields. At that time, all the alchemists were regretful that the other party had actually focused on researching a low-level alchemy potion. However, to everyone's surprise, Katarina, who had concentrated her talent in violent blood potion, had become a true god in the end. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened. This violent blood potion could actually increase the strength of any life form by a small level? Then can I do the same with myself? If it was really possible, it would be of great help to him. It would be of even greater help to his soldiers. It could even be said that it was not an exaggeration to greatly increase the strength of the soldiers under his command. With anticipation, Zhou Zhou got up and flew out of the reincarnation sacred palace. Then, he placed the statue down in a spacious open space under the jurisdiction of an official alchemy research institute in Blazing Sun Divine Capital. He gently threw his right hand. The statue expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it became 100,000 light-years large. Oh my god! Zhou Zhou was shocked. He hurriedly used his divine power to shrink the statue to the size of the forbidden archmage statue before heaving a sigh of relief. He did not know if it was an illusion, but when he shrunk the statue, he actually felt a sense of resentment from it. Zhou Zhou did not mind. Most of the treasures that had entered the god-tier level would give birth to spirituality or even intelligence. His official alchemy research institute was already very large. In the entire Blazing Sun Divine Capital, It could be considered one of the top 100 alchemy research institutes. However, it was clearly impossible to put down a behemoth that was 100,000 light-years tall. It was better to shrink it. In any case, it would not affect the effect. After placing it, Zhou Zhou flew down and arrived in front of the statue. He looked at the statue in front of him and the small building that clearly looked like an altar under it. Without any hesitation, he placed a true god-tier elementary grade divine crystals on it. In the next second, the true god-tier elementary grade divine crystals instantly disappeared and was replaced by a bottle of dark red potion. It was the violent blood potion. Zhou Zhou picked it up expectantly and looked at it. Potion name, violent blood potion. Potion grade, gradeless. Potion effect. After consumption, one's strength can be increased by a small level. The upper limit of the increase is the Great Four Supreme God. Potion description, the proudest work of alchemist Katarina Vela. Originally, it was just a black iron potion, but in his hands, it was upgraded to a precious medicine that even supreme gods craved. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up as he looked at the potion. He vaguely sensed that this potion would not pose any danger to him, so he drank it without hesitation. Not long after he drank it, he suddenly felt the surrounding energy surging into his body. In less than 2 to 3 seconds, his divine power and willpower had actually risen to the level of a grade 4 supreme god. Moreover, it was a perfect improvement without any future trouble. Zhou Zhou was very satisfied, even though it was only temporary. I wonder if we can replicate it ourselves. This way, I won't have to spend divine crystals. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. Even though one true god-tier elementary grade divine crystals in exchange for a bottle of potion that was even useful to grade 3 supreme god realms was not a lot. Especially for the wealthy him. However, who would want to spend money if they could freeload? At the thought of this, he once again took out a true god-tier elementary grade divine crystal to exchange for a bottle of violent blood potion. Then, he held it in his hand. Then, he activated the king and instantly copied the abilities and memories of all the alchemists, pharmacists, doctors, medicinal herbs experts, and a series of other professionals related to pharmaceuticals in his territory. At this moment, the level of his potion-making instantly increased to the level of a grade 4 supreme god. This surprised Zhou Zhou at first. Then, he checked and found out that one of his subordinates was not only a grade 4 supreme god, but also a grade 4 supreme god alchemist, and even a grade 4 supreme god doctor. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. He had so many talents under him. He turned his attention back to the bottle of gradeless potion in his hand. After he repeatedly experimented, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows slightly as he muttered. This violent blood potion is actually so special. I see. This Miss Katarina Vela is really creative. She actually thought of combining the conceptual god's ability with the violent blood potion to create such a conceptual potion. I was wondering how it could allow any life form to increase their strength by a small level. So it's the conceptual ability helping. He could not help but exclaim in his heart. This was truly an amazing genius idea. A pioneering potion that could cross domains. Then, he also felt regretful. His subordinates' knowledge of conceptual abilities could only be described as very little. The rest of the information was only learned recently after he came into contact with the illusionist clan. In that case, it would probably be even more difficult for him to replicate this potion. It seemed that he could only buy it with money, or find a way to recruit that alchemist, Katarina Vela. But the latter was not something that could be done in a short period of time. In the vast ultimate void great cosmos, who knew where this alchemist was? Even the Bodhi Supreme could not answer this question. What the Bodhi Supreme knew was only limited to what the Supreme Will knew after all. What the Supreme Will did not know, the Bodhi Supreme actually did not know either. Zhou Zhou looked at the altar in front of him after coming back to his senses. After some thought, he placed a world ring on it. This world ring contained a total of 5,000 low-tier deity-level elementary grades of Guy unit. In other words, 500 trillion low-grade, true, God-tier, divine crystals. Not long after this world ring was placed on it, it disappeared and was replaced by a new world ring. Zhou Zhou took it and entered it with his willpower. He saw that there were a total of 500 trillion bottles of violent blood potion. A smile appeared on his face. Now, he had about 124 trillion god spirits under him. If he distributed all these violent blood potions, each person would receive at least 4 bottles of violent blood potions, enough for them to use in a short period of time. However, it was naturally impossible to give it for free. This thing also costs money after all. Moreover, once the number increased, the cost would not be small. If they were given for free every time, it would be a huge loss if they were stacked again and again. Therefore, Zhou Fight chose to put them all into the military merit exchange list and let the soldiers spend military merits or divine crystals to exchange for them. For example, if a low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirit wanted a bottle of violent blood potion, they only needed to take out 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals or equivalent military merits. A true god-tier elementary grade god spirit only needed to take out 10 low-tier deity level elementary grade divine crystals or equivalent military merits, other levels, and so on. At the same time, it was stipulated that they could not trade with each other twice. Violators would be punished 10 times over. This way, the soldiers would not have to pay a huge price to obtain a trump card that could increase their strength. Zhou Zhou could also guarantee that he would not lose out. When there was a shortage, Zhou Zhou would come here to make up for it. At this moment, a figure walked over from behind him and said respectfully and excitedly, "Greetings, Your Majesty." Zhou Zhou turned around and looked at the person in front of him with a faint smile. "Ashburn Hall. Long time no see. It's great that Your Majesty still remembers me." Ashburn Hall was so excited that tears welled up in his eyes. "How could this emperor forget you? You are this emperor's first confidant." Zhou Zhou could not help but sigh. Ashburn Hall, who came from the dwarf race, was the boss of his second lord talent, the gnome alchemy workshop. In terms of experience, Mu Gu was far inferior to him. The mechanical chocobo that the other party had created was still fresh in his mind. At that time, the Blazing Sun Divine Capital was still a desert. And now, the desert had become the largest fertile land in the high continent with the richest promotion energy. All the god spirits dreamed of coming here and becoming subjects here. The former boss of the Gnome Alchemy Workshop had now become the president of the largest alchemy union in the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. At the same time, he was also a Grade 1 Supreme God-level alchemist. Thinking about the past, Zhou Zhou could not help but laugh. What a huge change. He looked at Ashburn Hall and threw a bottle of violent blood potion. This is a potion refined by a Supreme Realm expert at least. Take it back and study it with your professionals. It doesn't matter even if you can't replicate it. At the very least, this can point out a new development path for the alchemy potion. As for this statue, it's the source of this potion. You have to protect this statue well. Other than the limited exchange in the name of research, no one else can exchange for it at will. This emperor will leave first. With that, Zhou Zhou's figure instantly disappeared from the spot. "Farewell, Your Majesty," Ashburn Hall hurriedly said respectfully. Then, he stood up and looked at the dark red potion in his hand. He opened the cork and carefully took a sip. After carefully sensing it, his eyes immediately lit up. Then, he fell into deep thought. The surrounding alchemists who did not dare to approach were also curious. They came to the statue, exchanged for a bottle of violent blood potion, and began to study it. An unheard-of alchemy path appeared in front of these alchemists in the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. After Zhou Zhou returned, he continued to study the remaining rewards. There was naturally nothing to say about 10,000 mythical reputation rating and 10 million reputation rating. Zhou Zhou couldn't even be bothered to take another look. If it was an ordinary Grade 1 Supreme God country, they might be interested in these rewards. However, his current strength was equivalent to the strength of a quasi-supreme realm. Naturally, he was not interested in these reputation rating rewards. Finally, there were 5 Premier Hearts, 100 Supreme Hearts, and the Supreme Lord Reserve Army weight to increase these 3 rewards. Zhou Zhou had already received the Premier Heart and the Supreme Hearts once, so he naturally knew their effects. Among them, The premier heart could allow a supreme god to slowly increase the strength of their will until it reached the limit of the will divine transformation realm. Moreover, when advancing to the supreme will realm, it could increase the success rate by 10%. The effect of the supreme hearts was similar to that of the premier hearts, but it could only be used when a master god tier advanced to a supreme god. Zhou Zhou liked these two rewards very much, especially the reward of 5 premier hearts. With these 5 premier hearts and a training ground like the reincarnation sacred palace, there might be 5 supreme will realm existences under him very soon. The supreme hearts were very ordinary. It was very easy for his subordinates to become supreme gods now. They did not really need the supreme hearts. However, since it was free, Zhou Zhou did not mind and casually threw it into the military merit exchange system. Zhou Zhou looked at the final reward, which was the most important reward for the increase in the reserve power of the Supreme Lord. A faint smile appeared on his face. This was the most important reward for him. He was already the 3rd reserve army of the Supreme Lord. Next, he had to work hard to surpass the Spring-Autumn Dharma Lord and become the 2nd reserve army of the Supreme Lord. If he accumulated enough reserve power of the Supreme Lord, even if he did not compete with the Spring-Autumn Dharma Lord, he could successfully replace the other party's position and become the 2nd reserve army power of the Supreme Lord. He shook his head and didn't think too much about it. The 2nd reserve army of the Supreme Lord was still too far away from him. He still had to eat mouthfuls of food. He could take his time. Then, Zhou Zhou opened the Lord channel and the battle channel of the myriad races and realized that they were discussing how he had upgraded his territory to a grade 1 supreme god territory so quickly. Zhou Zhou was about to close the 2 channels in satisfaction after watching them flatter him for a while. However, at this moment, he noticed that these guys on the channel were discussing how he could establish a grade 1 supreme god territory so quickly. Moreover, many lords already had such guesses. Some said that the Supreme will gave him special treatment in private. It was also said that the common people's regal went out to the ultimate void great cosmos and obtained the treasures in the ultimate void great cosmos. That was why he could establish a grade 1 supreme territory so quickly. This was right. The funniest thing was that some god said that he had obtained the complete legacy of an eternal immortal realm expert and relied on that unbelievable legacy to establish a grade 1 supreme territory so quickly. There were other guesses other than that. Zhou Zhou looked at a few and could not help but shake his head. These guys were really imaginative. The complete inheritance of the eternal immortal realm had been obtained. If he still had that inheritance, why would they be bitterly competing with God King Heaven Punishment? Wouldn't it be better to just find a place to hide and cultivate to the eternal immortal realm? However, he began to think. Should I tell them the answer? This question didn't bother him for too long. He was prepared to tell them the answer. The ultimate void universe could not be hidden for long. Many elites had already guessed it. More importantly, Zhou Zhou had his own thoughts. First, currently, be it the lords in the Supreme Great Cosmos or the Crimson Great Cosmos, there were still too few newly established Master God tier kingdoms. As a result, they did not even have the qualifications to be harvested. They were taking advantage after all. It was better to be closer, so Zhou Zhou planned to use his answers to work hard instead of him to absorb nutrients and grow. This way, it would be easier to harvest in the future. As for surpassing him, how long would it take for a few beginner-grade Master God tier kingdoms that were not even intermediate-grade Master God tier kingdoms to surpass the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, which was already a Grade 1 Supreme Kingdom? By the time they grew into a Grade 1 Supreme Kingdom, his Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom might have already become a Supreme Kingdom. There was even less need to worry about them surpassing him. They could only obediently become his nutrients. Secondly, the Supreme Will had once instructed him to let more Master God tier kingdoms be born in the Supreme Great Cosmos. The Supreme Will was quite good to him, so it was not a problem for him to tell this news to them and the others. Hence, Zhou Zhou directly posted on these 2 channels. Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, Grade 1 Supreme God Nation, God Lord Blazing Sun. Most of the resources this emperor obtained came from the ultimate void, great cosmos. Lords who want to establish a master god nation, a supreme god nation, or even a higher nation, if you feel that you have enough power, you can go to the ultimate void, great cosmos. There are abundant resources there, especially in the great cosmos of some lord systems. It contains abundant resources for the advancement of territories. As long as you can obtain those resources, you should be able to easily advance to territories. As soon as this comment was posted, a large number of flattering comments immediately appeared below. Thank you for your guidance, Lord Common People's Regal. I understand. I'll bring my good brothers to the ultimate void, great cosmos, to search for opportunities now. It's been a long time since I went to the ultimate void, great cosmos. I'll make a move too. Thank you, Your Highness Common People's Regal, for pointing me in the right direction. Lord Common People's Regal is selfless and is indeed a role model for us. Thank you, Lord Common People's Regal. I will definitely become the ruler of the Master God Tier Kingdom as soon as possible and follow in your footsteps. Woo! Even though I'm also a high-level divine kingdom, I don't have the strength to go to the ultimate void, great cosmos to obtain advancement resources. What should I do? Common People's Regal, I'm too weak. Can you send some soldiers to help me? I'll definitely repay this favor in the future. Zhou Zhou glanced at the comments and retracted his gaze. He was tired of hearing flattery. Zhou Zhou did not even look at the people who were asking for help. Help you? On what grounds? With that mouth of yours? I've already told you the resource channel, yet you still want me to send troops to help you? Why don't you ask me to feed you the resources directly? He closed the channel and opened the Divine Kingdom panel of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Then he frowned slightly. Even though his territory level had been upgraded to grade 1, his Divine Kingdom was still at the intermediate grade Master God tier level. There was already a huge gap between the two. Fortunately, there was no relationship between the two. Otherwise, his territory would probably still be at the Master God tier intermediate grade. How could he advance to the highest grade 1 territory? I still need to conquer 2 beginner grade Master God tier kingdoms under the Crimson Overlord. Zhou Zhou rubbed his head and could not help but feel a headache coming on. I still have to continue supporting that bunch of trash. Fortunately, with the resources of the ultimate void, great cosmos, he obtained a considerable amount of resources every day. It was still easy to nurture 2 beginner grade Master God tier nations. Zhou Zhou estimated that in 2 days, or even a day, he would be able to get his clone in the Crimson Great Cosmos to support 2 beginner grade Master God tier nations. At that time, his clone would take them under his wing, and he would be able to upgrade the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom from a Master God tier intermediate grade kingdom to a Master God tier advanced grade kingdom. Then, he would be able to upgrade it to a grade 1 supreme kingdom. This was the short-term plan. Zhou Zhou nodded inwardly. Then, he came to the gate of summoning and spent 2 units of basic materials and 1,000 grade 1 supreme god crystals to upgrade the gate of summoning to the highest level of grade 1. A text notification appeared. Congratulations, your gate of summoning has been successfully upgraded to a grade 1 supreme building. You can summon 10 billion subjects every day. You will summon 1 billion professionals from the subjects every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 14, the number of subjects you can summon every day has reached 162,203,517,000. 100 million and 15 professionals will definitely appear among the subjects you summon every day. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction after reading it. A grade 1 gate of summoning had 11,585,965,500 subjects. After being buffed by the glory of the Pioneer 14, it had increased by 14 times, becoming 162,203,517,000 people. Furthermore, there were 15 grade 1 Master God tiers among them. 15 grade 1 Supreme Gods for free every day. Comfortable. The smile on Zhou Zhou's face was obvious. As for the number of subjects he summoned every day, which reached more than 160 billion, Zhou Zhou didn't really care. It was just a mere 100 billion. Every day, he would summon more recruits than this. Then, he glanced at the requirement to upgrade the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade. 10Z units of wood, 10Z units of fine sand, 10Z units of metal, 10Z units of stone, 1000 grade 2 Supreme God Divine Crystals. Territory upgraded to grade 2 Supreme God. Zhou Zhou retracted his gaze and instinctively walked towards the original dragon abyss. Then, he quickly came back to his senses and shook his head slightly. The original dragon abyss had already reached its upper limit. How could it level up again? Habit was indeed a powerful force. Even him, an expert comparable to the Supreme Will realm, could not be exempted. Then, he returned to the kingdom of God and sent someone to call Mugu, Zheng Fugue, and Carol Moeli over. While waiting, he was also thinking. Currently, his Scarlet Brood Mother and Mysterious Merchant's Lord Talent were only at the mythical tier. Normally speaking, when these two Lord Talents advance to the Master God tier advance grade, they would not be able to continue advancing. If he wanted to continue improving, he had to increase his Lord Talent to the Supreme Unique Lord Talent. Zhou Zhou had been busy improving the other Lord Talents for the past 2 days and temporarily ignored these two unimportant Lord Talents. They were still at the mythical tier, the only Lord Talent. Under normal circumstances, neither the Scarlet Brood Mother nor the Mysterious Merchant would improve because of the upgrade of their territory. However, Zhou Zhou was already prepared for this. He was now a grade 3 Supreme Sacred Body. The Lord Talent itself came from the Supreme Sacred Body, so he could temporarily disguise the Scarlet Brood Mother and the Mysterious Merchant as Supreme Unique Lord Talents with the power of the Supreme Sacred Body. This way, after the territory increased, their effects could continue to increase. Of course, the specific effect was still the effect of the mythical tier Unique Lord Talent, as it was only a disguise. Furthermore, the duration of the disguise was limited. It would lose its effect after 3 days of disguise at best. Therefore, he had to upgrade the Lord Talent of the Scarlet Brood Mother and the Mysterious Merchant to the Supreme Unique Lord Talent before that. 3 days is enough for me to improve, Zhou Zhou muttered to himself. The three of them walked into the shrine and arrived in front of Zhou Zhou. Greetings, Your Majesty, the three of them said respectfully. The territory has now been upgraded to a Grade 1 Supreme Territory. Tell me about your respective upgrades after the territory is upgraded to a Grade 1 Supreme Territory. Zhou Zhou came back to his senses and said to them with a smile. Mugu was the first to walk out when he heard that. He said respectfully to Zhou Zhou, Your Majesty, the Scarlet Brood Mother that I'm currently in has been upgraded from a Master God tier Advanced Grade building to a Grade 1 Supreme God building. The number of Mist Mothers evolved from the Grade 1 Supreme God Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 500 million to 2 billion. Each Mist Mother's Mist Mother world can now nurture 2 trillion fog monsters. 2 billion Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 40 Guy unit heads. In addition, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can already nurture 10 Grade 1 Supreme God Scarlet Supreme Gods in a day. As for the other God Spirits, they will remain the same as before. As long as the Scarlet Fog does not disappear, I can nurture them indefinitely, Mugu said. When Zhou Zhou heard this, he was shocked. These were 40-headed Guy units of fog monsters. If he used all these Mist Mothers to nurture his soldier type, with the enhancement of Lord Talents and titles like Heavenly Fate Di Huang, he would be able to obtain 20 Guy units Supreme God Realm Soldier Recruitment Books, 20 Guy units Supreme God Realm Soldier Class Change Certificate, 20 Guy units Supreme Holy Mage God Recruitment Books, and 20 Guy units Supreme Holy Mage God Class Change Certificate, which meant, from tomorrow onwards, he would be able to recruit a total of 80 Guy unit recruits just by recruiting soldiers and changing classes. Currently, he only had 69 Guy unit troops under his command. One summon could directly surpass his total military strength. Moreover, these 80 Guy unit soldiers were at least legendary tier elementary grade soldiers. The remaining soldiers were all legendary tier advanced grade soldiers. Coupled with the Supreme Unique Lord Talent of the War Supreme God Terrence. The number of God Spirits, True God Tiers, Master God Tiers, and even supreme gods born in the blazing sun divine kingdom would increase exponentially every day. At this thought, Zhou Zhou immediately said to Mugu, "Of your 2 billion mist mothers, 1 billion will be used to nurture the chaos ruler, and the other billion will be used to nurture the primordial holy canon." "Yes, your majesty." Mugu nodded respectfully and retreated. Zheng Fuguei then stepped forward. "Reporting to your majesty. The number of mysterious merchant has increased from 10 trillion to 100 trillion after the territory was upgraded to Grade 1. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 100 trillion. Among these 100 trillion mysterious merchants, there are a total of 100 supreme gods, 99,999,900 master gods, 9 trillion true gods, and 90 trillion ordinary god spirits. Our treasure hunting ability has improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 100 million god-tier treasures each time. The highest we can obtain is supreme god-level treasures. Moreover, our mysterious caravan status in the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce has increased again. The salary we receive every day has increased from 200,000 mysterious merchant chamber of commerce points to 1 million mysterious merchant chamber of commerce points. Lastly, when our mysterious caravan is out purchasing goods and requesting help from the headquarters of the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce, the mysterious merchant chamber of commerce can send up to 10 low-level supreme will realm experts to protect us and can protect us 10 times. Zheng Fuguei said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Their abilities and effects had improved significantly after advancing to Grade 1 Supreme God, be it the Scarlet Brood Mother or the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce. It was not in vain that he had spent so much effort to disguise them. Reporting to your majesty, after the territory was upgraded to the Master God Tier Advanced Grade, our Permethos Sacred Boat already has 100 clergymen from the capital units, 100 priests from the capital units, 100 nuns from the capital units, and 1 guy unit of Life Paladin. These clergymen are enough to complete a war healing mission and a war resurrection mission. Also, currently, there are already 100 trillion high-level divine duty members of the Permethos Sacred Boat's God Spirit level. Every one of them has mastered the resurrection spells, and they can resurrect the deities of our country alone. As for my strength, I have already broken through the bottleneck and reached the level of a Grade 1 Supreme God. I can resurrect God spirits below Grade 4 Supreme Gods. However, because my divine power is limited, the number of Supreme Gods I can resurrect in a day is also limited. Currently, I can resurrect about 10 Supreme Gods a day. Carol Moeli said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded. He was also very satisfied. After the mythical tier Unique Lord Talent, Life Arc was upgraded to the Supreme Unique Lord Talent. The Permethos Sacred Boat still retained a portion of the Life Arc's functions. This also included the inheritance of the Goddess of Life. This inheritance naturally included the ability to transform into a clergyman. Even the Faith Divine Crystal Transformation altar still existed. Zhou Zhou naturally had no objections to this. Instead, he was happy to see such a thing. These clergymen were good at healing after all. They had always been the most important healing power in the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. If the Life Arc lost the ability to create healing and resurrection clerics because it had advanced to the Permethos Sacred Boat, it would be a huge loss for the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Now, not only did he not lose anything, but he could also level up as his territory leveled up. This was naturally the best outcome. Then, Zhou Zhou chatted with them for a while before letting them return. Zhou Zhou also returned to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and prepared for his breakthrough. He was going to officially advance his will to the Supreme will realm tomorrow. The next day, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou Zhou was sitting cross-legged on the Tao Comprehension futon, undergoing his final breakthrough. At that moment, his will was like a raging fire. A dangerous accident could happen at any time, and he might even suffer a backlash from failing to break through. Even though the probability of this happening was very, very small, it wasn't impossible. However, this was a calamity that he had no choice but to experience. After all, This was the last tribulation of advancing to the supreme will realm at the limit of the will divine transformation realm. After that, he would be able to make a breakthrough in his level of willpower and become a supreme god with a supreme will realm willpower. If he couldn't take it, his will would suffer the backlash of a breakthrough and be severely injured. The damage caused by willpower was not so easy to recover from. At that time, even if Zhou Zhou had many treasures to recover his willpower, he would probably be weak for a period of time. Thankfully, he had many clones. Even if he was really defeated, causing his main body to be weak for a period of time, with the powerful strength of his clones, he wouldn't affect the current situation in the 5 battlefields. Otherwise, he would probably have to prepare some means before making a breakthrough. He had no choice but to break through now. This was because he could sense that the enemy he was facing was gradually touching the limits of his strength. He had to use all means to defeat them when facing some enemies. This kind of defeat seemed to be in the limelight, but it was actually not what Zhou Zhou wanted. What he wanted was the kind of enemy that could defeat the most difficult enemy with only 70% or even 50% of his strength. The remaining 30% or even 50% of his strength was used to prevent accidents from being hidden. The feeling of having to use all his strength to defeat the enemy made him uneasy. Once he encountered an enemy whose strength far exceeded him, he would definitely be in danger of dying. That was why he chose this period of time and did not choose to spend more time preparing a more reliable method to break through. Instead, he chose to break through immediately. By the time he broke through to the Supreme Will Realm, his strength would increase by at least 10 or even 100 times. When the time comes, even if he faced a high-level Supreme Will Realm expert, he could easily defeat him. Only a willpower expert or even an Eternal Realm expert could make him feel unable to deal with or even resist at all. At that time, his clone, Zhou Fight, would no longer be afraid of the 2 high-level Supreme Will Realm enemies in the Yellow River Realm. The only thing that he was a little apprehensive about was that he only had a 99% chance of successfully breaking through to the Will Realm of the Supreme Will Realm. He was still unable to advance to the Will Realm of the Supreme Will Realm with a 100% chance of breaking through. Sigh. He still hadn't accumulated enough. If he was given another 180 Supreme Will Realm powerhouses to inherit as his foundation, he would definitely have a 100% chance of breaking through. A 99% chance of success was still not too stable. He lamented inwardly. If the Supreme Will or the Crimson Overlord knew what Zhou Zhou was thinking, they would definitely be speechless. 100% chance of breaking through? Are you kidding me? Even for those living beings whose potential reached the standard or even exceeded the upper limit of their potential, there was still a very small chance that they would fail to advance when they advanced within the upper limit of their potential. There had never been a 100% chance of successfully advancing in this world. There would always be some unexpected factors in something as important as a breakthrough.